Hello all, it's your girl Tiffany, Madam Luscious Black Beauty, your poetic psychic Pisces, High Priestess, here for another one of my missing person videos. As those of you who are subscribers to my channel, you're probably kind of seeing a trend of me doing these missing persons videos, as well as those of you who have been subscribers for a while. You all also know that I do videos about targeted individuals and the things that relate to that, and how illegal technology and different things, different aspects of that is being used against citizens like every single day. So as you see these series of videos that I am doing on missing persons, I just decided that if time, money, and resources were going to be used to constantly stalk and harass me, as well as millions of other people who are targeted individuals, I just figured since they are illegally attacking me in that way, then instead of me dwelling on that constantly, which I will still do videos about that, I figured that I would bring up some statistical facts of things that are happening in this world, which they can't answer for. They're not doing anything about. It seems to amaze me that, like I said, so much time, money, and resources is being used to illegally stalk, harass, invade, and violate citizens every single day against their will. A lot of people against even their knowledge, because there's a lot of people who are targeted individuals and have no idea of being so. But this is something that is very drastic that is going on in the world. This is something that's very prominent. It is going on every day. Targeted individuals are triggered for staged events. They're triggered to kill themselves. They're triggered in suicides, homicides. And we see on a daily basis there are numbers and numbers of children who are dying, numbers and numbers of children who are going missing, vanishing, never to be seen or heard from ever again. There's all kinds of things that are happening in the world, and these governments, these ultra rich individuals in power, they're not doing anything about it. Yes, yet they are using all of their time, their money, their resources, their power, their privilege to stalk and harass individuals like myself illegally. And so I'm putting some factual things on blast that is not being talked about, that is not being paid attention to. So on tonight, Missing Persons video, we are going to be talking about JonBenet Patricia Ramsey. Now, JonBenet Ramsey is not a missing person. She was actually murdered in cold blood in her home. But this is one of many cases. As I have told you before, a lot of times when these big high-profile cases happen, and it doesn't necessarily have to be big or high-profile, and the authorities seemingly don't have any suspects, any clues. They act like they don't have any evidence to prosecute anyone, and these things, they kind of end up going cold. And all of these things, it's because a cover-up has happened, and it's being done by elite people in power whom are doing these things, who are controlling these things. And it seems to amaze me because, like I said, these are also the individuals who are funding these psychological operations to illegally invade and violate millions of people across the world. So tonight we are going to be talking about JonBenet Patricia Ramsey. JonBenet was born on August 6, 1990. She died, she was found dead on December 25th, 1996. So this would be Christmas Day of 1996. However, she was actually murdered before that day. She was just reported as missing and then dead on that day. So I'm going to give you all a breakdown of the story. I believe just about everyone have heard of this story. But just in case no one has heard of this story, I'm going to give a brief overview of this story. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I have done a spirit reading for JonBenet. And so I will be doing that as well. So we are going to start with what the information that we have and what we know about the situation, about this case. As I said, JonBenet was born on August 6, 1990. She died December 25th, 1996, or she was pronounced that then. JonBenet was an American child beauty queen who was murdered in her home at age of 6. She lived in Boulder, Colorado with her family, mother Patsy Ramsey, father John Ramsey, brother Burke Ramsey. On December 25th of 1996, everybody woke up Christmas Day. Patsy Ramsey, which is JonBenet's mother, she supposedly went downstairs in the kitchen area, and there was a long 3-page supposed ransom note that was found in the home, as well as a practice note. So, clue number 1, okay? The person who was responsible for this crime used paper and pen already in the home of the Ramseys to write this 3-page ransom note. So, I mean, a 3-page letter, you know, had to take some time. This person obviously was not in a rush, was not in a hurry, was not worried about supposedly being caught. Okay? Her father, John Ramsey, supposedly 7 hours later found JonBenet's body in the basement of their house after they falsely reported her missing. Now, before this happened, when supposedly Patsy Ramsey found the ransom note in the kitchen, they called the police. They reported their daughter missing, and the mother said that her daughter was missing, that she found a ransom note, and that she was calling to report her daughter missing. Now, during this time, there was a lot of suspicious things that took place around this situation altogether. The Ramseys, they were actually very wealthy. JonBenet herself was a child American beauty queen. Her mom had also participated in pageants as well when she was younger. And so she was basically living through her daughter now, with her being in pageants and things like that. So that's how a lot of people know of JonBenet Ramsey. However, the father had some type of lucrative career. He mixed and mingled with other very prominent people, very wealthy people, individuals in the industry, individuals in business, other very wealthy individuals. They were socialites. They had a lot of connections and things. So on the day that all of this went down, Patsy called the police to report JonBenet as missing. They had friends over and neighbors over, okay? Between the Ramseys and neighbors and friends of theirs, they completely contaminated this entire house, okay? She was assumed to be missing at first. The other problematic thing I seen with this case is the fact that initially they sent out a couple of officers to basically take a report of what happened. Later, these officers left. There was hours that went by before, and I believe they called back again or something like that, but a detective was sent out. This was a female detective, one detective by herself. It was not a slume of police or media or any of that. It was not until later when JonBenet was found deceased. So this detective, she is here alone. She is steady calling her superiors. Hey, I need help here. Why isn't anybody here helping me? To take statements from people. They have all kind of people in the house. They're not listening to her. They're just roaming all over. They're doing, insignificant little nothings. It was a very chaotic scene. They had friends and neighbors over and everything, and this one detective whom was there. You all could probably still find her interview online. This woman has a very telling interview. However, they were in this house. She was in this house with these people, the Ramseys, as well as their neighbors, as well as some friends, for quite a while. So, and she started to question them all separately, and basically to get statements from these individuals and things like that. At some point, they decided to disperse. Okay, everybody break off. We're all going to search the house. They still hadn't sent this lady any backup or any help. She's in this house with the Ramseys, with their neighbors, and with friends of theirs, okay? So they dispersed to go and search the house just to make sure JonBenet was not in the house. Why? Because there was no physical signs of a break-in. The door wasn't broken in. There was no broken windows. There was no sign that somebody broke into their house, okay? So they all take off into different areas to search all over the house. John Ramsey immediately goes into the basement himself. He goes down. Now, this was 7 hours later after they initially called the police and reported her missing. He goes into the basement and he picks up the body. Now, they know full well that JonBenet was in the house, okay? I'm just going to say that off top. He went directly to her body. She was in the basement. He comes back up the stairs carrying her body, and the detective immediately ordered him put her down, and she was trying to preserve the crime scene after they had already contaminated everything. All these people were in there. She got back on the phone with her superior. She said, I need help now. We have a dead body, a dead child here, and everything. Now, first of all, I need you all to think about this. Somebody supposedly broke into their home. They had to be familiar with the home. Why? Because obviously they knew exactly where they were going. They walked into their home. They didn't bump into anything. They didn't run into anything. They knew exactly where they were going. They went exactly to JonBenet's bedroom. They took her out of her bed. They had to walk back downstairs with her, and then downstairs into the basement. They had to know where the basement was. Took her down there, closing every door behind them. JonBenet, she sustained a broken skull from a blow to the head. She was strangled by a rope that was tied around her neck. There was obvious signs of rape and torture. Her panties were torn off. She was found bound and tied at the wrist. Tape was over her mouth. And ultimately, her case was ruled a homicide, okay? So like I said, this supposed stranger had to break in their house, although there was no signs of a break-in. They would have had to know the ins and the outs of her house, okay? They went in the house, they got JonBenet, they took her out of her bed, they walked her back downstairs, they walked her downstairs into the basement, closing every door behind them. This person sexually assaulted her, tortured her, bound her, gagged her. They did all kinds of awful things to her. Then when they got through, you would have people to believe that this person then walked back upstairs in their kitchen, just as calmly as can be, got paper from their house, a pen from their house, wrote a 3-page ransom note and a practice note, and left the practice note there. Then calmly left and never have been seen, heard, or captured again. It's complete BS, people. Okay? Later, DNA was found on JonBenet's undergarments or on her body and or clothing that she had on, which would have been her pajamas or whatever that she was sleeping in. Okay, this is the overview of what exactly happened in the JonBenet Ramsey's case. Okay, there are clear signs that what was told initially to the police that she was missing was a complete and utter lie. The Ramseys know more than what they were saying. The Ramseys, as well as their neighbors, as well as other friends that they had over, completely, and I believe purposely, contaminated the scene of the crime because they knew full well what was going on. JonBenet was never missing. She was not kidnapped. She was not taken from that home. Somebody supposedly, they want people to believe that somebody supposedly came in their home, got their child out the bed, raped her, sodomized her, beat her, tortured her, bound her, gagged her, tied her, cracked her skull open, strangled her to death, got up, wrote a note, and then wrote a ransom note. Ask yourself, who writes a ransom note for somebody they have already killed and left in the house? That's stupid. It would have made more sense for this person to come in, write the note, take the child from the house, and then, call them with whatever ransom demands. That's usually how a ransom works. Nobody goes to somebody's house. This person would have had to been there for probably hours. Okay? So it clearly makes no sense, but this is the case. Okay? This is what they have told people. This is what they expect people to believe happened with JonBenet Ramsey, and it is completely false. Okay? So, as I said, I did a spirit reading for JonBenet, and I'm going to get into that. I did this spirit reading. I actually started on this last night, you all. As you can see on the screen, this is the ridiculous ransom note that was left for the Ramseys, supposedly. Okay, so we're going to get to the bottom of this in this spirit reading. I've prayed, I have meditated. I just ask, I call upon my archangels, my guardian angels, divine spirit, universe, to give me clear and accurate message why I'm praying and why I'm meditating, to give you all accurate messages for these readings. And it is as follows. And as you can see here, I have quite a few pages with this. I actually believe that there's more, but I have more than enough evidence to blow your minds about this case. Okay, so we are going to jump right into it. I first asked Spirit, did a family, is this the, hold on, I'm sorry, I need to do this in order. I don't think okay, I think this is the correct order. Okay, the first question I asked Spirit, did JonBenet's parents have anything to do with the murder of their daughter? The answer for Patsy, I got a direct no. The answer for John, I got a direct yes. Was someone living in the Ramsey's home involved in the murder? I got a direct yes. Do the Ramsey's parents know who killed their daughter? I got a direct no for Patsy. I got a direct yes for John. Was JonBenet murdered? Was JonBenet's murder a sacrifice? I got a direct answer of yes. Are the satanic powers that be involved in the murder of JonBenet? I got a direct answer of yes. Did elite officials, high profile or wealthy individuals in power cover up the murder of JonBenet? I got a direct answer of yes. Had JonBenet been sexually abused before she was murdered? I got a direct answer of yes. Did JonBenet's brother Burke see, hear, or have anything to do with the murder of his sister? I got a direct answer of no. Did John allow someone to rape / torture and murder JonBenet? I have a direct answer of yes. Okay, there are 4 individuals that I'm about to bring up. You would assume that these were separate individuals. However, considering the fact that I got from Spirit that JonBenet was being sexually abused before she was murdered, then I'm going to explain this after these answers, okay? I asked Spirit, did a family friend murder JonBenet? I got a direct answer of yes. Did a client of John Ramsey's murder JonBenet? I got a direct answer of yes. Did a neighbor murder JonBenet? I got a direct answer of yes. Did a personal friend of John Ramsey's murder JonBenet? I got a direct answer of yes. You would assume that all 4 of these people are separate people. I'm going to get into some parts later that will go into something a lot deeper, okay? The 4 individuals, the friend, the family friend, a client, the neighbor, a personal friend, this is all the same person, okay? And I have side notes here of other things of the messages that I got from Spirit. I'm not sure if you all can see that. You can see I made an arrow over here. It says this is the same person. And up here I put this person was one of the people at the house the day of the murder. So this family friend, this neighbor, this good friend of John's, he was at the house on the day of the murder. The day that they supposedly called the police to report JonBenet missing, he was one of the neighbors that was there. This is going to make sense when I get into some other things. Listen carefully. I asked Spirit, did Patsy see, hear, or know anything linked to the murder of JonBenet? I got a direct answer of no. And I'm going to give you all further clarifications as to why, as far as that night, the murder, why Patsy didn't know anything. It's going to blow your mind. Did Patsy write the ransom note? I got a direct answer of no. Did John write the ransom note? I got a direct answer of yes. Has Burke been abused in any way? I got a direct answer of yes. He has been abused sexually, Spirit says, by his father and others. John Ramsey was not only sexually abusing JonBenet, his daughter, he was also sexually abusing his son. Ladies and gentlemen, he also pimped out his children to clients, to friends, to other socialites, high-profile individuals in power and with money. He was doing this for the benefit that he would get out of it because, of course, the Ramseys are sellouts to the satanic powers that be. I asked Spirit, was Burke asleep when JonBenet was murdered? I got a direct answer of yes. I asked, was Patsy murdered? If you know, a short while after JonBenet died, Patsy died. Yes, I got a direct answer of yes. She was murdered to keep her quiet about what she knew. This is going to make sense later. Do John have anything to do with the disappearance and death of Natalie Holloway? Natalie Holloway is another beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl. She actually was not a child. She was older. I want to say her late teens, early 20s. But she vanished and she went on a trip or something, and she ended up going missing, and she was later found murdered. Those of you that have followed the case about JonBenet, after Patsy died, John Ramsey started dating the mother of Natalie Holloway. So John's daughter, JonBenet Ramsey, was murdered and killed in their home. After Patsy died, the powers that be set him up with Natalie Holloway's mother, and Natalie Holloway came up missing and murdered as well. I'm going to have to do a spirit reading for her. However, he did not have anything to do with the death and disappearance of Natalie Holloway. However, I did get from spirit that his dating Natalie Holloway's mom was a setup by the powers that be. I asked spirit, was John Ramsey pimping his daughter out for financial gain, positions, titles, roles, or certain job positions or perks? I got a direct answer of yes. Did John rape, torture, and murder his daughter, JonBenet? I got a direct answer of yes. Now, you already know that I got a hit on this other person who is a neighbor. Y'all, excuse my cat. She is walking past the thing. Angel, get down. This means that John and this other person were in there together, attacking JonBenet that night. And I'm about to tell you why Patsy didn't know, and it's deep. Hold on, y'all. I asked spirit, did the person John allowed to murder, torture, and rape JonBenet accompany him in doing so? I got a direct answer of yes. That's what I just explained to you all. They did it together. I asked spirit, did JonBenet... Hold on just a minute, guys. I asked spirit, did Patsy... I asked spirit, did Patsy... hold on just a minute, guys. I hate when this thing goes on. I asked spirit, did Patsy know JonBenet was being sexually abused before her murder? I got a direct answer of yes, y'all. Patsy knew that JonBenet was being molested and raped, not only by her husband, but by other people. She also knew that her son was being molested and sexually abused, not only by her not only by her husband, but other people as well. Now I'm about to tell you why she didn't know. Even though she knew that JonBenet was being sexually abused and raped before her murder actually occurred, I'm about to tell you why she did not know anything from the when she got murdered. Okay, I asked, did Patsy know her husband was molesting JonBenet before the murder? I got a direct answer of yes. I asked spirit, did Patsy know John was pimping out her daughter, JonBenet? I got a direct answer of yes. I asked, this is where it's going to tell you. I asked spirit, the night JonBenet was raped, tortured, and murdered, was Patsy drugged and drunk? I got a direct answer of yes. If you see any interviews, pictures of Patsy Her eyes were always glossy. They were always low. It looked like she was a grieving mother and crying. Patsy was high. I always felt like Patsy was high. And anybody that knows the story, Christmas Eve, they were at their neighbor's house for a Christmas Eve gathering, party, whatever. John kept Patsy drugged up. And she also had been drinking. The night that this was to occur, after they came home from the little Christmas Eve party that they had at their neighbor's, he drugged Patsy. He drugged Patsy between the time that they were at the Christmas Eve party and the time that they got home. This is why Patsy Ramsey was knocked out. She was drugged. She was drunk. He kept that woman drugged. So even though she knew, and this is why she was ultimately killed, to keep her quiet about what she knew, because she already knew that her daughter was being molested and pimped out. And she was going along with this because of her prominent husband. And the fact that they were socialites and the fact that they had elite connections and everything, okay? But the reason Patsy was not aware of who, in fact, killed JonBenet was the fact that she was drugged the night before. And she was drunk. She had been drinking, but she was also drugged with pills. And she was kept that way all the time. That's why Patsy always looked glossy-eyed, really low-eyed. Patsy was high. Okay? I asked Spirit, was the Ramseys paid for the rape, torture, and murder of JonBenet Ramsey? I got a direct answer of yes. Everything that happened to JonBenet Ramsey, the satanic powers that be are aware of it and behind it. John was paid. The Ramseys together were paid before Patsy died. They murdered Patsy also. I believe he was even paid more even after Patsy died, because they had to get rid of their loose end, because Patsy herself was under mind control. Patsy was kept drugged up and everything, and they didn't want to run the risk of her saying anything about the fact that she knew that JonBenet, as well as her son, was also being sexually abused and pimped out. And this is the reason why Burke sings so off. He almost seems like he have a certain disabilities of some kind. This is the reason why when he did his interview, he kind of came off as, laughing at the wrong times. And a lot of people kind of speculated and thought that he had something to do with it. Burke was 9 years old at the time. He could have very well done so. But just like the Mendez brothers, they were very rich. Their parents were very rich, elite, powerful, and in dealings with the industry. And supposedly they ended up killing their parents. But, it came out in their case that their father was not only raping them ever since they were young boys, their mother knew too. And their mother stayed drugged up and had to stay, because she was being abused too. And so, you get this a lot of times with high-profile families, these elite families. Satanic ritual abuse is very real. A lot of these people who are in these satanic cults, who are in amongst these satanic powers that be, they start molesting their children in their infancy on up. By the time they're 6 years old, they have been full-blown penetrated and molested in all kinds of ways. And when you are a prominent figure, then when these elites come to you and want your daughter or want your son, and you want this big deal, you want this new position, you want this prominent role, they end up handing over their children, and it's a sacrifice. That's why I tell you all so many times, sacrifices come in many different shapes and forms, okay? I went on to ask Spirit, is John Ramsey still friends with the other guy that participated in murder, rape, and torture of JonBenet Ramsey? I got a direct answer of yes. He is still friends with this individual, and I would assume that they would still be friends anyway, because they both know each other's dirty little secret, But the satanic powers that be covered this up for them. It was said before that John Ramsey had a lot of connections amongst the industry, amongst the elites. I also believe I'm going to do some further digging on in this matter. I also believe that that some high ups in power were watching this. I believe that the rape, torture, and murder of JonBenet Ramsey, I believe it was recorded. I believe a snuff film was made of what happened to her death, and somebody high up, elite, in power have that tape hidden somewhere. It may be even be on the dark web or something. Maybe not, but they have a bunch of hidden, secretive circles of individuals that are linked amongst those of them who are high in power. So I believe this was recorded because they took their time, you guys. You have to know that they took their time in doing this, okay? They wasn't in a rush. They wasn't in a hurry to do this, to get done. This is how you know strangers didn't do this. Every bit of evidence they have points to the fact that strangers did not do this, okay? If you just got some whacked out crazy stranger that's going to come in and kidnap one of your children or something, they're more likely to be stupid enough to just come in, grab them, and get out of your house as fast as possible with them. Not lollygag around your house, not know where their bedroom is to get them, not to quietly walk them to your basement, rape them, torture them. You got to know she made a sound, she made squills, she made a sound, something. And then when they got done, they just, finished up, went to the kitchen, wrote a note, and and everything. And so, yeah. But these satanic powers that be covered this up. They completely botched this case, and you got to be a complete dummy not to know that this was set up by the elite powers that be. So I want you all to, I'm going to let you all listen to this broadcast. I'm playing this under, your fair use guidelines or whatever. So, but I want you all to listen to this.
The first clue JonBenet Ramsey may be in danger. This ransom note Patsy Ramsey says she found on the back staircase of their Boulder, Colorado home. It is the day after Christmas, 1996. The chilling note is addressed to John Ramsey from someone claiming to represent a small foreign faction. The note demands $118,000 and threatens the immediate execution of their daughter.
And I immediately ran back upstairs and
look at her eyes.
Her door,
she's high.
And she was not in her bed. And I screamed for John.
The couple waits hours, but the call to arrange the ransom exchange never comes. A Boulder police detective tells John Ramsey to search the house, including the basement.
It was a 4 concrete wall room. I knew instantly when I opened the door that I found her.
You know she was dead?
No, I didn't. I had this rush of...
He's lying.
Just, thank God I found her.
How did you not know she was dead?
Her hands were tied. She had tape over her mouth.
Listen, guys, how would you not know that she was dead? This girl was on the basement floor, tape over her mouth, cord wrapped around her neck. Her wrists were tied up with rope as well. Her underwear and other garments ripped off of her. Her head bashed in. She was tortured and abused and raped. This bastard just clearly lied. He asked, "Did you know when you seen her that she was dead?" He said, "Oh no." And he goes to close his eyes. That's a person that's remembering. He's lying.
I removed the tape immediately.
The 6-year-old beauty queen has a cord wrapped around her throat, held by a paintbrush from Patsy Ramsey's hobby kit. An autopsy later shows that her skull is fractured, and evidence of a sexual assault is inconclusive.
They're lying.
Days
It was
later,
very
the
conclusive.
Ramseys issue this warning.
I will tell my friends.
Patsy, hide in Cooter Brown.
Keep your babies close to you. There's someone else here.
But who?
Not one
There
tear
are no
rolled down
signs
her
of forced
face.
entry at the family's home, leading detectives to wonder about John and Patsy Ramsey, even about their 9-year-old son, Burke. All of them give hair and blood samples to police. But a year later, December 1997, they are still not cleared.
They do remain under an umbrella of suspicion, but we're not ready to name any suspects.
We are now learning that 2 years later, a grand jury indicts John and Patsy Ramsey for child abuse resulting in death, an accessory to the murder. But then District Attorney Alex Hunter chooses not to charge the couple.
We do not have sufficient evidence
They complete botched
to
this
warrant the
case.
filing of charges
Powers that be
against
covered this
anyone
up.
who has been investigated
Because John was a
at
good
this
little
time.
Patsy.
DNA evidence from the scene is entered into the FBI database in December 2003. Then, 3 years later, an arrest. 41-year-old John Mark Carr,
This
an
was a
elementary
setup just
school
to throw
teacher with
people
3
off.
sons, is arrested in Bangkok, Thailand, after claiming he was present when JonBenet died. He says he loved her and her death was an accident. Carr isn't charged after DNA tests confirm he isn't a match. 2 years later, in
That was just to
2008,
throw people
new
off.
DNA analysis clears the Ramsey family for good. The Boulder County District Attorney formally apologizes in a letter to John Ramsey for the cloud of suspicion his family's lived under for 12 years. The apology comes too late for Patsy Ramsey, who died of ovarian cancer in 2006.
That was a cover-up. She was
in a
murdered.
cemetery near Atlanta, next to her daughter. Randy Kay, CNN, New York.
Y'all, that was a complete lie. Okay? That was the coverage that they did about the JonBenet Ramsey case, but it was a complete cover-up. The entire investigation, the entire case was completely botched. Everybody from the attorneys to the Boulder Police Department to everybody who were involved in the situation, they literally, they were acting very suspicious. You could tell that they were getting their orders from high up to bury this case as fast as possible because John was a good little puppet for them, as he still is. And he was still providing his son as well. But, y'all, this girl was tortured. She was abused. And the fact of the matter is, the situation that happened that night, it went too far. But like I said in the reading, it clearly states that JonBenet was a sacrifice. This is why I also believe that there is some kind of video somewhere of the situation that happens, because she had been being molested and raped, okay? So if this was just another night that, she was going to be pimped out to someone or something, then that just would have occurred. However, this was a sacrifice. This was it was a sacrifice because John got this big bonus that was coming to him, and suspiciously, JonBenet Ramsey popped up dead. All of this stuff happened right before he got this big promotion, this large sum of money that was coming into him, and ironically, the ransom note asked for specifically the exact same amount that John Ramsey was supposed to get in this big bonus with, whom he was working for, and with the work that he was doing. This is a very heartbreaking situation, you all. I hope this spirit reading has shed some light on what happened with this case, as well as what happens with so many others. I have told you all before in previous readings, when there's a situation and it seems like, there's never any leads, there's never any real suspects. Every once in a while, they'll try to throw the masses, the public, for a loop, thinking, they're following some kind of leads, they're close to some type of this or that, and it's really to mislead the public. These people, no matter what police stations that they work for or whomever, their orders be coming from higher up. So when somebody higher up, when it's a situation that was done for the elites or because of the elites, or they got things to do with it, these are people, prominent people in power, and certain sacrifices and things have been made, those orders will come down and they will cover up the crime, essentially, as follows, as they are told. And it's just like, they'll never have any evidence to prosecute anybody. This girl was tortured, murdered, raped, okay, sodomized in her home. Nobody seen anything, nobody heard anything, nothing. It's complete bull, okay? But anyway, I wanted to do this spirit reading for you all, for JonBenet Ramsey. There's a lot of people in the world, especially regular everyday people who have heard of this case, who know of her because she was a beauty queen and different things like that, and really cared about this situation and what happened to her. I hope this gives somebody, this is very heartbreaking anyway, so I can't really say that this will bring anybody a peace of mind or closure or anything, because at the end of the day, nobody has paid. The people that should have not paid the consequences for this baby's murder. And as I said in the beginning, it really angers me that there are hundreds of thousands to millions of us who are being targeted, who have been blackballed and blacklisted and red-listed, whom our lives are made a living hell every day. We are under 24 hours, 7 day a week, illegal, unwarranted surveillance. We are being watched, we are being stalked, we are being followed, we are being harassed. Our privacy, our human rights is being invaded and violated every single day. And people who don't have a strong mind, they are triggered and pushed to suicide. Some people are triggered to completely lose their mind just so they can get slapped with some type of mental illness label. The powers that be, they love slapping mental illness on something, but they are the true definition of mental illness, if I have ever seen such a thing. So, more awareness needs to be brought to this. There are a lot of people who are speaking out about this, about the illegal use of technology that is being used, these microwave weapons, these directed energy weapons, their remote neural monitoring, their neuro-linguistic programming. This is not just about believing me. This is about you using your own mind, looking up these things for yourself, finding out these things, because a lot of the people's problem is there's a whole lot of people who is just unaware. And more often than not, if you have somebody around you and they're telling you, things are being done to them, people, they go to dismiss you, or to call you a lie, or to assume that you're crazy, or have lost your mind. And more often than not, the people that's around you are gaslighting you, because they're gang stalkers, because they have been recruited into this demonic, satanic, masonic, demonic, psychological operation, and they are being used to target you as well. Nevertheless, I won't go off into that. That's for, my targeted individual videos. However, I wanted to bring you all this spirit reading for JonBenet Ramsey. As I always say, you all take care of yourself, take care of each other, but most of all, take care of your babies. And without any further ado, peace, love, and light. Namaste. Hey, and just an added bonus, you all, to the spirit reading. Real quick, I asked Spirit a couple of things, more things. I asked Spirit, is Burke still being used and abused by his father and others? And Spirit gave me a clear answer of yes. I was worried about him, even though this reading is about JonBenet. He is still in this world. I just kind of wondered, was he still being used and abused in any kind of way? Also, I asked Spirit, did John Ramsey, how long had John Ramsey been sexually abusing his daughter? And I got the answer of 1 year old. JonBenet Ramsey had been sexually abused or being molested and sexually abused since she was 1 year old. And as I told you all, Patsy Ramsey was very much aware of this. Patsy Ramsey was kept drugged up, or she pretty much stayed diluted, whether it was with alcohol, and pills. John also did things to keep her, kind of dazed and doped up as well. But she was fully aware that these things were happening and taking place, not only to JonBenet, but Burke as well. So I just wanted to add that further clarification with that, just to let you all know. This is really heartbreaking. This is a really hard story. But anyway, I just came back on to give you all that bit of information. As I was getting ready to end this video, I just thought I'd ask Spirit a couple more questions. So for those of you who needed to know that information, there you are. Peace, love, and light, everybody. Namaste.